What's up, everybody? It's the Hardy Construction. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, but most notably, at the moment, on YouTube with yours, Komp, and
Oi!
today's film is
The Golem 2018!
The Golem 2018, directed by Doron Paz and Yoav Paz, written by Ariel Cohen, starring Hani Furstenberg, Ishai Golan, Kirill Cernyakov. Boy, you see how I'm being
You're
nice
doing
today,
a good
right?
job. You're being really tame. See, I'm the resident Jew here, so I can say
Very
whatever
good.
I want.
During an outbreak of a deadly plague, a mystical woman must save her tight-knit Jewish community from
She's a healer.
I know, from foreign invaders. But the entity she conjures to protect them is a far greater evil. So anyway, why'd you pick the Golem? And it's supposed to be Christmas, so Shabbat.
Yeah, you know what? Because
You have a
we
war
have
on Christmas,
we have
right?
one fucking song for our holiday, and now we have one horror movie. Well, that's not true. The Possession was also a Jewish horror
I think
movie.
is a much better film, but
So we have two horror movies and one song by Adam
And
Sandler.
you chose this on purpose to continue the war on Christmas, according to the news.
Exactly. It's time that you Christians paid.
So, explain this movie, The Golem, to me, please.
Well, it's based on the biblical story of the Golem, which is like a clay monster that you create, and it's like Superman, basically.
Is that what?
and
Yeah,
it
Superman
protects
was
you.
based on The Golem, correct? Right?
I mean, they actually get like I don't know the Jewish mysticism stuff really. My grandpa knew all that, but it does like actually reference like real like everything they say is like very well researched in this movie.
So it is an Israeli period supernatural horror film, and it's very. I'm afraid to say anything wrong that people would think is. I'm gonna be throughout this episode.
Oh,
Anytime we
please.
say anything bad about this
I'm a
movie.
Jewish man and you're talking to me and I accept everything you say.
This
So
is-
therefore it's okay and I speak for all Jews because
Okay.
that's the way Israel apparently is for all Jews.
Oh,
So why not
boy.
me too?
Anyway, so this is a very the only other sort of Jewish centric horror film I've ever seen was The Possession, which was a great film, and
Yeah.
it was like a Jewish version of The Exorcist, and it had like a rabbi come in and kicking ass.
And it had the guy that plays Negan.
Yeah, Negan playing it, and he had his daughters and
Hmm.
all that fucked up shit going on. It was a good movie though. It was entertaining.
And that was pretty good.
It
Yeah.
was good. So this is a period piece horror film, and I was like watching it last night, and like I
Mhm.
was honestly I was falling asleep during this. I mean, it could have been because I was watching it late.
I know what you're
I was a little
saying.
bit
It's a
bored with
little
this movie.
boring. It's a little boring.
There's only
But
one word.
the parts
for
that are good.
Gonna put that
And-
clip right inside that part.
Okay.
So I mean, it's well shot for the most part, but it gets a little wonky on some parts for me.
The script is a little weak and it's a little dragged out.
Yeah, because I mean, the basic setup of the story is this one. I didn't even know shit was going back in time or whatever. There was like just weird continuity because there's this main woman. She's a redhead. Her name is Hannah.
You know what really bothered me actually? Why in the beginning they showed the golem and it's huge and then it's a child?
I guess
But I guess they did say it evolves though.
But okay, could be that. But I thought it was because like it's coming from your deepest research.
Yeah, and hers was the desire to have
because
a
at the very
a
beginning of the
child
movie, I
again.
almost skipped
Yeah.
that first beginning. Was
No, that's true actually. I'm wrong.
you see a room full of dead. They looked like modern rabbis. I wasn't sure. I thought they were like in regular 20th century rabbis.
Well, I mean, all that clothes is traditional.
Is it? Oh yeah,
So,
so it's that black suit, but they weren't wearing black suits like that in this one. They were just sort of. Anyway, either way,
I mean, there's like I don't know a lot about
you see a bunch
the
of
ultra religious Jews, but there
you see a lot
are
of
different
practitioners of
tribes
faith in the
and
room. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't know. what they-
there's different.
and then there's I guess
And then there's like different traditional outfits depending on what part of the world you're from.
I wasn't
and,
sure if
yeah.
that golem killed those people because the same thing had happened in this movie, or because the golem was those guys did something bad because they looked like.
I think the
rabbinical
golem
students.
just becomes like a projection of your mind.
Yeah, because it's funny if you ever see what the typical golem image looks like. It's this sort of square-headed monster man. Like it looks like he's made out of. It's supposed to be made out of clay, and this one it's made out of dirt, right? I guess it could be wrong.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck am I gonna say? actual Jewish directors that they're wrong about what a golem is made out of.
They did a lot.
I've always heard it was
clay. It's a fucking fictional
it's the same thing, though,
but
right? Clay is earth anyway, so.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, they did their research. Like they mentioned like really specific shit in the Kabbalah and stuff. So this is like,
so yeah, because I was like,
I would take their representation.
I had never heard anything. A lot of this stuff I wasn't sure of, but it was interesting at least. But yes, it was a giant golem, and then for some reason, this old man who I guess called it forth, like his head explodes in special effects. I don't know why.
I hated the exploding special effects in
really
this movie.
Bad,
actually,
like these are like Sci-Fi Channel level of effects in this movie. It's pretty
because it's like a pretty decent movie. It's well shot, and then it's like, why do you cheap out on that?
Yeah, there's some weird cheap stuff in this movie, like the part where she first gets saved by the golem, and the guys are flying around, exploding in the air, and like the camera will zoom in. I was like, what is this? Like. And here's my biggest aspect with this movie. My problem is that the music score.
Yeah,
it's
me too.
So, like,
that was 100% my biggest problem.
It was like so like gripping or something. Like, it sounded like they were. This is supposed.
It was like too much.
Yeah, like you're expecting this like to be a horror film, right? You don't need swelling orchestral music. Because
they're going for like that like traditional Jewish music. I get it, but like it doesn't need to be the whole time. Like
yeah, I mean, let's get every scene. Like the first part where she gets attacked, is like, and I'm like, what's going on with this music? Like it's so over the top.
Like when the guy was actually playing to the golem to like. Yeah, that was fine. That made sense.
Because it was
but, like,
insane.
They had that kind of music going
like,
the whole
time. When you hear, like, it almost seems like they had to put it there because it was a period piece film where they didn't want too much silence in the film. Believe me, with horror movies, you want
I like silence in films. Or, like, creepy, slow music. You don't need, like, a constant, like, dramatic, epic thing. I don't know.
Yeah, because I do have questions. Is it, like, has there ever been a happy, like... a movie? Because like
Jews don't tend to be very happy.
Is it like
even our weddings are depressing?
Because I'm asking this in genuinely asking this because I'm like the funny thing.
Has there ever been a happy point in Jewish history?
They're funny. No. Like obviously there's Jewish comedians, and
yeah, but it's all like based on self-deprecation.
Is that what it is? Yeah, because like Seinfeld is the greatest sitcom of all time. Well, besides,
look at him. He's a disaster of a person. So is Larry David.
I'm afraid everything I'm saying is anti-Semitic, which I'm saying like the opposite. I'm saying good things.
No, like all of Jewish history is basically just like, oh, these people enslaved us. Oh, now we're being pursued by these people. Oh, these people hate us now.
Because like it is. You know what was funny? Like I was expecting everybody to die at the end of the film. Like I was expecting it, and then I was like, lo and behold, it did actually happen, where every Jewish person gets killed at the. I was like, yes, I knew that was gonna happen. Like, oh my god, because it's like when.
She was just so slow at it. She should have been the second that golem was born. She should have been like, kill them all and
like,
send them.
Did she know getting cracked over the head was gonna do something to the golem? Like I didn't understand. Like I was assured that she was doing that to, I guess, suicide herself.
Well, if she died, would the golem die?
I would assume that's the case. Yeah, because they have some sort of weird
connection.
Yeah, right.
And there was a point I didn't understand. Why did it stab her in the vagina?
It was jealous.
When she was at the...
No, it stabbed her in the thigh, I think. It was jealous that she was showing affection towards her husband.
Okay, I kind of wasn't sure about that part. That sex scene was
pretty funny. I gotta say, like, putting religion into sex really has to fucking, like... Because they do have passionate sex later on, but they're having, like, sex a missionary style, and it almost looks like...
It kind of draws the point between that show, what's that show right now on Hulu with the fucking... rapists and everything, like the whole society is like rapists because they can't get pregnant. The Red, I can't think of it. Handmaid's Tale.
I never watched that show.
It really shows you like, yeah, that is what religion is basically.
Yeah, because I mean, like if you're doing religion to have a child and stuff like that, like it really kills the mood, right? I would think, but well, I guess guys.
Of course, it kills the mood. Praying to God in the middle of sex, just have sex. You can see she's miserable, and so is he. But then, like, they have good sex.
Yeah, I wasn't sure because I thought, for some strange reason, I thought like I would think, or you're led to believe that she's putting some medicine to make her pussy wet.
Like have. No, I thought she was taking something to have kids, but it turns out she was doing the opposite. She was taking a birth control.
Yeah, I didn't even know what birth control is. I wish she was like, what the fuck were these shooting inside her to kill kids?
I mean, all this shit is based on something.
Oh yeah, so. So yeah, that's a big fuck you to her husband. I guess her husband said, yeah. There's a lot of whole class aspect. There's interesting aspects in here about classism and like women being able to study sexism. Obviously, there was that hot school teacher, right? That was into the husband.
Yeah, but honestly, she was right the whole time. Almost like she's just stupid. She should have been better. Like she's the first one that said they need to stop him. If she had just fucking made the thing and then immediately killed them, that would have been it. Like the movie would have been over.
I know, she took her sweet fucking time. Like, why did she need to have the kid in the house? Because
yeah.
the whole other, secondary I guess they're the primary antagonists in the film are these it was so funny how
Vladimir or whatever.
How dubbed in that line was when the sisters, because I wasn't sure that this was like a flashback because it just cuts
when they're in the water,
right? Because I was like,
yeah, that was a little confusing.
Because at the beginning they go, 7 years ago, and then I was like, then it shows a scene where she's in the water with her sister, and I was like, is this 7 years ago? Because she's like very happy, and usually she's miserable.
Yeah.
And then they're like they're walking through the forest, and you hear it's clearly dubbed in, like they must have just added this line because we're too close to the Gentiles. I was like, I guess that Gentiles are not good guys in this movie. Well, Gentiles never really have been good people.
They never are the good guys.
No. But so yeah, they come and they're wearing their weird sort of.
I like the
masks. I forget
yeah.
Well, it's funny because the spy versus spy mask because those noses. The noses on the masks
they put herbs in them to protect
flowers
them.
and herbs so they don't smell death or they don't get sick really from it. Even though the guy was like rubbing his dead 6 daughter's face and touching his face. But that was Vladimir. He was like a Russian guy, and I guess right. It was Lithuania, yeah. So
yeah,
the whole secondary antagonist or the first antagonist. See, I'm saying like the Golem's antagonist. He really is because he killed everybody. But they are these pissed off guys that are going through the plague in Lithuania. So I guess these are Russian Jews.
Poor guys. I guess so.
And they're having the plague over there. I don't know whether I thought the plague was in fucking England for all I know. I guess it was everywhere,
a lot of
right?
plagues. There's a lot of plagues.
So they get pissed off and they think that the Jewish people are doing these. Is that bad to say? I always don't know if it's Jews.
What, the
Jewish.
word Jews? I say it all the time.
Okay, so I'll just say Jewish. That they say that the Jewish people are putting mystical weirdness on them and plaguing everybody because they're sort of not, it doesn't really, because when you're thinking about the toilets, it all has to do with shit and where you throw your shit at and getting sick and stuff
rats
like that.
And,
yeah, obviously that's like the rats carry the bubonic plague and all that crap. So they think they blame them for this. This guy comes in with a sick daughter. He says if she dies, I'm going to kill everybody in here. Or like this healer who turned out to be the child in the beginning of the film. Obviously she's older. She has dealt with the golem when she was a child. And
she was the little kid in the beginning, we find out.
She tried to stab the rabbi at the beginning, and or he might be even bigger than a rabbi, I'm not sure. So they are. I
don't think there is bigger than a rabbi. Is there bigger than a rabbi? I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, I'm sure there is. But anyway, so they are put in this position where these guys are watching the whole time, but you never really see the aspect of them. They only they're sort of like very lazy bad guys in the way that they're written. Like you obviously know, you just know that they're bad because they threaten to kill everybody because this guy's daughter is sick. I guess they try to humanize. There's the
chief rabbis.
They try to humanize the bad guy, I guess, by having his daughter be sick, and that's the reason why. But it's still a bad guy, and I don't really know what the point of the film is in the sense that is it bad to take vengeance?
The grief of losing a child.
Right, no, I get that, but is it bad to take vengeance, or would vengeance begets vengeance, or should you be able to take vengeance? Because obviously these people, they're coming in, like this guy just comes in and shoots a random guy because his daughter's sick. Like, what the fuck is that about? Like, fuck that guy. She should have took that fucking golem and had that kid kick him in the balls right into hell.
Like immediately.
That's it. And then their problem solved. But because she's obsessed with her child who had died 7 years previously by drowning.
Yeah, but why couldn't she have killed those guys and then
then she can be fine, but the problem would have been solved the first night that first kid was there. That's the thing. And then I had to look around around the room because this kid's nude buttocks was on screen. I was like, what is this doing on my TV? I don't want to go to
but he's not a kid. He's a monster. It doesn't matter.
This movie was Victor Salva approved, the director of Clown House and Jeepers Creepers. He was like, "Can you make that scene longer?" Anyway,
Michael Jackson did the score actually.
Right before he. Anyway, he was like Shamona. Anyway, So yeah, so I really didn't understand because they did need the golem to fuck those bad guys up, but then it's also showing
Yeah.
the golem will kill everybody. But then look
I
what
didn't realize they
happens.
had guns like that back
But
then.
then I know, I was like, there's guns in here. Like, what year is this movie taking place? But then like the violence, the fucking I'm sorry, the Rush Lithuanian Gentiles come in and start killing everybody. So
Yep.
and the Jewish guys are trying to kill the golem in a really cool scene. So what is it saying? Like, do you need the
It's
golem
saying that I don't know, honestly.
Hani Furstenberg, I think she was pretty good in as the lead.
Is that the main girl?
Yeah. But I mean, she's not really like her and her husband are actually. Nobody's a bad actor in this film, really. It's just that it's so.
Yeah, they're good actors. It's just there's no
it's just like a very
um,
flat-looking film to me, and I don't know how to
there's
explain
nothing holding
that.
it together. There's
You know
a
what
lot
it
of
looks like? It looks like I guess you don't really watch the Travel Channel, but Travel Channel is basically 70% of the day is now like weird ghost story shows. Like, I don't know how travel equated to ghosts now, but that's ever since Ghost Adventures came on. It's like a bunch of dudes that look for ghosts. Every other show.
It just reminds me of it's just very like.
It looks
like
like a
no
reenactment,
unifying
right?
things. There's like no unifying things in the script. The script is just like kind of bland.
Right, because you figured they can chop,
which is
a
hard
lot
to
of this
do
shit
because
out.
there's a monster, and you know
It
you can
feels
do all
like
this stuff.
the reason why I was bringing up Travel Channel because they just all those horror shows are reenactments, and they're very like cheaply done. And this feels like it's just one long reenactment. Like you're watching when you have somebody's talking about something, and
They're
then,
reenactments of things that didn't happen.
Right. So you think, but that's what all on Travel Channels. And then fucking people saw ghosts. It's bullshit, and I like ghosts.
I mean, man, maybe they did, but I doubt enough to make several TV shows.
This whole thing feels like there should be a person talking about them. Well, there is a person narrating the beginning of the film that doesn't come back for some reason. I guess that was the lady who was the healer, but it feels like there should be a talking head, like somebody like this movie every 15 minutes will cut to somebody telling the story because it feels like the whole movie is a reenactment. Like you're just watching a long hour and almost 2 hour movie of fucking reenactment because this just doesn't.
Oh, they totally could have cut it down.
Oh, absolutely, because it doesn't feel like anything is sort of worthwhile. It's very interesting for the aspect of what is the word? Finding out somebody else's religion and finding out somebody else's lifestyle and shit like that. Like that's really
it made me wish that my grandpa was alive so I could ask him questions about all this
he
stuff.
He would have said, "This is bullshit. This movie." He said, "You're wasting your time on this." But honestly, our family would say that about every fucking movie we saw on this shit. But there were interesting aspects about just completely different lifestyle. I don't really see movies like I've never seen really Jewish protagonists in movies. Well, obviously you do see Jewish protagonists in films, but a very Jewish centric. Unless you're looking for it, like that's really sort of.
Spaceballs is the greatest Jewish sci-fi.
Right, but it's not a Jewish. I guess it is a Jewish sci-fi. It wasn't, but I felt like there was just sort of lazy writing. Like I understood what they were doing with the film, but they took a long time to get to it. Like they could have cut a lot of stuff out. Like obviously.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Like I just couldn't get into it. It felt like they were trying to make a long sort of epic film like The Witch or something. I'm sure that's how they were selling it. Like, oh, this will be like the Jewish version of The Witch or something. Like something really historically accurate. But there's no real... To me, I didn't feel like there was any real historical accuracy. This was just some sort of random town in Lithuania or a random, group of people in Lithuania. There's no sort of aspect of life. They just sort of work and then eat, which I guess is how life is anyway. But at least The Witch, you saw them do shit. Like you saw them like as boring, as boring and tedious as I thought that movie was. But I liked.
Well, I rewatched it recently, and I think it's more boring and tedious than I gave it credit for. But I do still like it.
Right? Yeah. There's something about it. Just the effort that went into doing it. Because this one, it feels like they were trying to be historically accurate, but they didn't make it entertaining. So I don't know. Like I was just really sick because I started waking up when the golem came and started fucking people up. The kid, and then but then I was like, oh yeah, she's gonna kill that fucking guy Vladimir. Then she goes stop, and then I was like, oh man, you told me I woke up for him not to do anything, and obviously they changed.
And then he just comes back and kills them all. So
yeah, because I knew that was gonna happen. I knew it because I was like, just going into, I was like, I know they're gonna fucking kill that golem, and then he's gonna come in with all those people, and it's gonna be. But it's a very downer film, and I'm surprised, and I'm glad that the husband survived it. But I mean, how could you, Like if your wife commit, I guess you would like your wife to commit genocide, wouldn't you? Just like just
Yeah,
accidentally
no, that'd be
genocide.
cool. Like, that'd be fine with
Because
me.
at the end, she's like, "Oh, okay, I'm so sorry. After you killed, God knows how many people in this area, now I have to let you go." She gives him some sort of weird kiss to pull the thing out of his mouth. So I
Yeah,
don't
that was
know.
pretty sexy.
And the kid looked
I don't know how I
pretty.
felt about
The
it.
kid looked pretty modern, honestly. He didn't look like from back then. I don't know how to explain that. He looked like a normal kid. I don't know. It's not a pure recommendation for me. Just
I don't know.
it's interesting,
Yeah,
not historical, but just
it's like
aspects
kind
of
of bland, but I'm
yeah,
happy that there's a Jewish horror movie.
yeah. No, I want to see more Jewish horror movies that deal with this sort of subtext and context. But this isn't it for me. Like I was just it was just sort of a whatever movie. So what rating would you give this film?
Eh, like a 6. Like a 6 out of 10. Um, 6 out of 10. Putting a special potion on your vajaj so that you don't have to go through the pain of losing another child. But then by the end, after seeing a demonic child kill a bunch of people, you realize, actually, I love my husband and I want to have sex passionately.
I'll give it a 5 out of 10. Being a supernatural monster, but then like your first kill or second kill, you use a knife to cut a lady's throat. When he could have just
Mm.
punched her to death, right? Like he was a colossus or something. But I changed
Yeah, he
that.
had
I'll put
exploding psychic powers. It was like that movie. What's the one where he makes the head explode?
scanners.
Scanners. Yeah. That's it.
I would give this I'll change that. I'll put it a 5 out of 10. Having missionary sex with your wife and saying religious stuff, because that's truly how to get them wet.
Nice.
With that, Danny, what's the final word?
Oi!